Welcome to Pages with Sidra here. I bring you the novels behind your favorite manga, Manhwa, and Manhua, whether by translating or simply reading them for you. Let's dive into the stories that inspire the comics we all love. I got a cheat ability in a different world, and become extraordinary even in the real world. Volume 14. Chapter 3. Between Worlds. Part 1. The center of the vast Pacific Ocean. There were some figures there. It's a horrible place. One of them was dressed in a uniform white robe with a hood covering his face. The appearance alone was bizarre, but these people were clearly different from ordinary humans. They were not standing on land, but in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Instead of standing on land somewhere, they were floating in the air as if they were looking down at the Pacific Ocean. It took us a long time to get to this point. It can't be helped. It is all the fault of this earth and that woman. But the will of that damned earth is gone, and that woman is missing too. Now is the perfect time. The robed figure spoke. One of them had a bitter look on his face. The more I think about it, the more humiliating it is. We, who are gods, are imitating humans, the creatures of the earth. Yes, the gods who had been overthrown long ago were gathered here in the Pacific Ocean. The gods, with their powers diminished when the divine beast was sealed by the people of Motra, were destroyed in the rebellion of the humans whom they had treated as slaves. Thus, humans would create their age. In fact, the gods had prepared these human bodies in case of an emergency. But the gods, who originally recognized humans only as toys, could not bear to be demoted from gods to humans. Most of all, the gods thought that they could destroy Motra with their divine beast, so they only considered this as an insurance policy. As it happened, Motra's power sealed the divine beast, and the gods were forced from their position. Believing that they would be truly destroyed if nothing was done, they made the painful decision to use the bodies they had prepared to transform themselves into humans. Though weakened, they were still gods and powerful, but by turning into humans, they lost even more of their power to an even greater degree. Still, the gods had no choice. Fortunately, by hiding as humans, they were able to escape the scourge of the earth, Sara, and the people of Motra. Moreover, even though their physical bodies had fallen to the human form, the faint remaining godly power was still alive and well, and they had transcended their human lifespan and gained an immortal body. Therefore, they have spent a long time trying to recover their lost godly power. I understand how you feel, but you can take out your resentment on this planet after you restore the divine beast. That's also true, but the power is not at full strength yet. Even if we revive the divine beast, will it be able to defeat the humans in this state? As one god spoke, another opened his mouth. Do not worry. It is true that humanity has multiplied explosively during this long period of time, but only in numbers. Without technology like that of Motra, there is no one who can use that terrible star power and magic. Our victory is unassailable. That is also true. As one god nodded in agreement with the explanation, another frowned. The only thing that worries me is that we haven't found the woman's coffin. HMPH. After all, the coffin was created with the little energy left of Earth. It would be impossible to continue protecting her with such a coffin. That may be so, but I'm not that optimistic. We must eliminate the uncertainties if we want to rule this world. The others felt the same way. Utterly despicable. If only we could regain our power as gods and use our omnipotent power. Even if we could use it, we wouldn't know anything about this planet and that woman. That's why we tried to eliminate their existence. One of the gods sighed heavily. Still, what can we do about something we can't find? What are you going to do about it? There's one place I'm curious about. What? The other god stared at the god who had made the unexpected statement. Despite the stares, the god continued to speak. In fact, I have sensed a strange surge of power coming from a place called Japan. What? Could it be the power of that woman? I don't know, but do you remember the plane hijacking in that country not too long ago? Yes, I remember. As I recall, a man solved it or something. The case the gods were talking about was the one where you saved Kaori's sister Kasumi from the hijackers. Yes, that's right. And that man is suspicious, at least I think so. What do you mean? Think about it. In this day and age, it is impossible for one man to defeat a man with heavy weapons in his hands and free the hostages. What's more, the man is said to have disappeared from the plane without a trace. Such a feat is absolutely impossible for people today. What? If. One of the gods spoke up as if he sensed it, and the god he was explaining to nodded. Yes, The man has probably received some kind of magic power from that woman.
It is also possible that the woman's seal began to break when we moved.
When it was thought that there were no clues at all, there were traces of something unexpected. The gods pondered quietly. I see Japan, huh?
I'd like to go look for it now, but there's also the matter of the divine beast to consider.
Then let's split up. Some of us will go to Japan to find the man. The rest of you will stay here to unseal the beast. That would indeed be better.
Bilmu.
Then I, who brought up the subject, will go to Japan. I will ask you to resurrect the divine beast. After saying this, several of the gods instantly disappear. The remaining gods then stared at the Pacific Ocean below once again. Now this time, the planet is ours. And so, the history that should have disappeared begins to move. As various agendas began to be set in motion on Earth. In the underworld, 1, 2, 3 Nuo, I am injured and need to take a break.
That's not all.
You'll have to pay 10,000 yen for medical treatment.
Nuo, wait a minute.
If I pay that, I will lose all my money. Ryume, Ikaku, and Ikaku were playing a board game. While Ryume bemoaned the contents of the grid she was stuck on, Ikaku continued calmly. And next, a child is born.
Ryume-sama, Ikaku.
Give me 10,000 yen as a congratulatory gift.
I'm already broke.
And you still want to take it from me? That's the way of the world. And Nuo. Nikaku spoke up in response to the heated pair.
Ikaku.
You have to complain too. He is trying to extort money from me, his master.
He is a gold digger. That's the rule, you know.
And no, I mean Ryume-sama, is your work okay? Without understanding why, Ikaku was invited by Ryume to participate in this board game. However, Ryume is in charge of everything that happens in the underworld, and most importantly, she has the important task of deciding the verdict of the dead. Therefore, she should not have time to play like this.
Don't worry about it. When the boundary between the present world and the one that disappeared under the influence of the false god was restored, the function of the underworld was also manipulated.
Is that so? Ikaku was surprised to be told this so casually. Furthermore, Ikaku's eyes were wide open as if he didn't know anything about it.
What, you didn't know about it either? Yes.
I thought you were just sick of your job and escaping from reality. Ryume's cheeks tightened at Ikaku's two honest words. Why, you guys, well, that's okay.
Let me tell you, you will also benefit from this change.
What do you mean? In the past, in the underworld, unless there was something wrong, I would make all the decisions directly, but that would take too much time. Therefore, I have decided that those who have come to the underworld and whose souls are somewhat untainted will either be returned to the wheel of reincarnation or will automatically ascend to the divine realm.
I see.
The same is true for impure souls. I have predetermined the crime and punishment according to the degree of defilement of the soul, and I have modified the system so that the punishment is automatically assigned, and only when a person comes with a soul that exceeds the level of defilement will you bring the person before me.
I was wondering why the number of souls of the dead has been decreasing so rapidly lately. I guess you could say it's thanks to that. We now have less work.
That is true.
Well, I've been working too hard until now.
Before, it was dangerous to change the laws of the underworld because of the Mako seal.
But now that Mako's been released, I can finally reshape the underworld. I see what you mean. Anyway, I need you to give me 10,000 yen as soon as possible. You still insist?
In response to Ikaku's relentless pursuit, Ryume shouted and paid Ikaku the 10,000 yen she owed him.
While such an unbelievable scene was taking place in the underworld, and only arrived on the scene.
Ryume-sama.
Huh, what's going on?
You have a visitor.
A visitor? After the change in the laws of the underworld, the number of visitors to Ryume's place had decreased dramatically.
In particular, it was very rare for a visitor to come and not someone who was waiting for a verdict. Long time no see, Ryume-sama.
Behind the Oni was the main body of Kuya in the underworld.
The unexpected person startled Ryume. You are Kuya, aren't you? I am honored that you remember me.
What do you mean? You helped me save Mako.
Besides, there are not many people in the underworld who can handle the spiritual power to move freely. As Ryume said, originally, the dead could not move freely in the underworld.
This was to protect the order of the underworld, and if they needed to move, they were usually taken around by the Oni. Most importantly, it was extremely difficult to move without the protection of the Oni, as they could be crushed by the mystical and spiritual power of the underworld. However, Kuya, with his enormous spiritual power and his newfound spiritual power from death, had become one of the few beings in this underworld who could move freely. How did you end up here? Ryume asked as he helped Karku and the others to clean up the board game.
Then Kuya opened his mouth with a serious look on his face.
Actually, I see the things you fear. Kuya explained to Ryume what happened in the present world. He reported that Yuya had fought with himself from a parallel world and that he had been attacked by a mysterious man from outside the world.
Ryume-sama, do you have any idea who this mysterious attacker might be? I have an idea. Anyway, I can't say that I had nothing to do with their attack.
Karku. Yes.
At Ryume's call, Karku, who had been putting the board game away, stopped.
Now go to the present world and bring Yuya here. As you wish.
And as soon as Karku nodded his head, he disappeared like a mist. So this is Japan, huh? When Kuya was in contact with Ryume in the underworld, a young man had arrived in Japan.
However, unlike ordinary tourists, the young man was greeted at the airport by a large number of media representatives and a group of imposing security police. The young man was stunned by the over-the-top welcome.
Hey, James, you don't have to make such a big deal.
What are you talking about?
Your Highness is the crown prince of our country, so it is only natural that security police should be deployed.
Besides, there has been some disturbing news lately, and to be honest, I don't think there are enough personnel.
The young man sighs at the words of James, the butler. I was hoping for a romantic reunion alone with Kaori.
Please give it up. This is also for the sake of your Highness.
If something should happen to the girl named Kaori, your Highness will be troubled, won't you? That's true, but if you are unhappy with the number of security personnel, I, for one, cannot understand why the press is rushing to this airport. It's only natural for them to do so since I'm coming here. Besides, if I can show the world the relationship between Kaori and me here, the engagement is sure to happen. James raised his eyebrow at the young man who said that so vividly.
I didn't expect His Highness to make the first move if His Highness is right and makes contact with a girl named Kaori in this situation. It might be difficult to cancel the engagement.
What's wrong? No, it's nothing. Unhappy with the way things were going according to the young man's plan, James now wondered what he should do. And now moving on to part 2 of this chapter. The story is just getting more exciting, so let's dive right in and see where it takes us. It had been a week since the open campus.
On my day off, I went to practice sorcery in preparation for the attackers.
Suddenly, a mysterious black vortex appeared in front of me.
What is that?
No way. The attackers are already here.
I hurriedly took out my absolute spear and prepared it, and then Kuya-sen came over to me.
Wait, that portal belongs to a Karku-sama, just like last time.
Eh? I said I would use my body to contact Ryume-sama, didn't I? That's why Ryume-sama moved so fast. I see.
As soon as I lowered my weapon, Ikaku-san emerged from the vortex. It's been a while, Yuya-sama. It's been a while. As usual, Ikaku-san exuded an aura of serenity, and I felt terrible. Then everyone gathered, including Knight and the others from inside the house. Woof. I thought I felt a strange presence again. Hey Yuya-sama, could it be that one? Oh, this is Ikaku-san. I told you earlier about Mako, the one from the underworld. When I introduced them, Ikaku-san bowed his head reverently. Lexia-san and the others also bowed their heads and immediately noticed something.
Wait a minute.
Why is someone from the underworld here? Could it be related to Mako? And no, it's not about that.
I hadn't told Lexia-san and the others about the parallel universe yet, so I didn't know how to explain it to them.
If possible, I didn't want to make everyone uncomfortable, and I wanted to keep quiet. Then Ikaku-san, perhaps sensing my feelings, offered a helping hand. Actually, now that the situation in the underworld has calmed down, my Lord Ryume-sama wants to thank Yuya-sama again, so this time I have come to pick him up. Yuya-sama, can you spare some time? Why, yes, I am fine.
Can't we go with you?
When Lexia-san said this quickly, Ikaku-san shook his head apologetically. I'm sorry, but the underworld is the land of the dead. It is a place where only the dead or those with spiritual power can go.
I see. Spiritual power was Yuya's newfound power, wasn't it? It's outrageous to hear again that it also allows you to go to the underworld.
So, Yuya-sama, we will go there as soon as possible.
Is that okay?
The moment I was about to nod at Ikaku-san's words, Mako raised her voice. See, can you take me with you? You are. Ikaku-san's eyes widened slightly, but he quickly smiled and nodded. If it is you, it should be fine. I'm sure Ryume-sama will be rather pleased to see you. Thank you very much. So it was decided that I would go to the underworld with Ikaku-san, but if the attackers came while I was away from this world, it would be a problem.
That's why.
Aum-san, please take care of everyone. HMPH, I have no choice. And night too, please. Woof. You-hi. Bu-hi.
Hi. Hey I. Ha ha her. Of course I'm counting on you too.
After being amused by Akatsuki and Seal raising their voices to compete with Night, me and Mako went to the underworld for the first time in a long time. Around the time you left for the underworld. At the Nitte Academy, Kamiyama was given a certain document by Shirai. Here's the information on the student candidates.
Thank you for your hard work.
The document given to Kamiyama contained detailed information about the students of the Nitte Academy, along with their portraits.
This is good. With this, I think we can form a school idol group at our academy. Yes, Kamiyama was thinking of forming a school idol program at Nitte Academy as well to compete with the school idol program being promoted at Aosei Academy. In order to select the members for this project, she asked her butler, Shirai, to gather information about the students.
Then Shirai opened her mouth. I gather both male and female students as you requested.
Is that okay?
Aosei Academy was supposed to be an all-female group.
That's fine. It is true that Aosei Academy is currently working on a female school idol project, but since we are talking about the eccentric of the Kitaraku family, I am sure that he has male idols in mind as well. If that is the case, we should prepare both groups from the beginning. Besides, it might be a good idea to make a mixed-gender group. Kamiyama was ahead of the others because she knew about Aosei Academy's student council president, Kitaraku. While looking at the information gathered in this way, Kamiyama looked frustrated.
Our school is full of wonderful people, but there is no one who can compare to Yuya-san.
Originally, Kamiyama wanted to bring Yuya to the Nitte Academy.
But Yuya, who was enjoying life at Aosei Academy, refused, and she gave up in tears.
And Kamiyama, who was looking for an eye-catching talent to start the school idol project, felt frustrated that she did not have someone like Yuya at hand.
I'm sure that Eccentric will probably use Yuya for the job. I wish I could bring him in somehow, but it will be difficult. Thinking that much, Kamiyama let out a single sigh. Besides, I don't think the school idol project will be the end of it.
What do you mean? I understand that the school idol project serves as a promotional tool to attract students to Aosei Academy, but I think it's a little too important for that purpose alone.
From what I've heard, they're really into having Kaned Yutamori from Star Productions write the music for them. Well then, there is a rumor.
Rumor?
Kamiyama tilted her head at Shurai's words. Shirai nodded her head.
Yes. I don't know how true it is, but I heard that Aosei Academy is going to establish a new public entertainment department.
Public entertainment department. Kamiyama's eyes widened at those words.
I see their school idol is just one of the perfected examples, and the real purpose was to establish a public entertainment department, right?
Surely, if school idols are successful, it will be easier to establish a public entertainment department as an example of success. What? Perhaps as a stepping stone to that goal, a cooperation with Star Productions.
What do you mean? Shirai asked, not quite understanding, and Kamiyama calmed down a bit as she continued. Listen.
If they want to establish a public entertainment department, they'll need teachers to teach this subject. However, the Aosei Academy, which is just an ordinary school, does not have the know-how.
Therefore, by partnering with Star Productions, who participated in a school idol project at Aosei Academy will be able to invite Star Productions talents to teach the subject.
I see. And since Star Production does not have a training school, they will use this opportunity to focus on training the next generation of students. That would make Star Productions bigger, and the Aosei Academy, which is affiliated with them, could become bigger as well. As soon as Kamiyama said that, she immediately gave the order. Shirai, now go and find an entertainment agency that can compete with Star Productions,
and contact them to set up a public entertainment department at our school. Understood.
With that, Nitte Academy also began the process of establishing a new public entertainment department. When we reached the underworld safely, Mako looked around nostalgically. It looks like the restoration of the underworld is really over.
It calms me down. Just as Mako said, there was a calm atmosphere in the underworld that we visited for the first time in a long time, probably because the various restoration works had been completed.
The traces of Mako's spiritual power outburst had also been beautifully restored.
While looking around, we followed Kokusan and arrived at Rieme-sama's place.
Welcome, and it's been a while. Long time no see. Rieme-sama. Rieme-sama's eyes lit up when she saw me, then she shifted her gaze to Mako and smiled kindly.
By the looks of you, you seem to be in good health. Yes, in the present world, not just Master but everyone has been good to me. When Mako first arrived, I wondered what would happen to her, but now she was taking perfect care of Lexia-san and the others and had learned to behave exactly like a maid. That's good.
Well, I don't know what that outfit means, but Rieme-sama herself seemed to have nothing but doubts about Mako's transformation into a maid.
Well, that's okay. Anyway, I'm sorry to start so early, but let's get down to business.
You heard what Kuya-san said, didn't you?
Yes. Well, I have an idea who might have attacked you. What on earth could that be?
Maybe it was someone wandering in the Between Worlds. Between Worlds.
I just tilted my head at the unfamiliar words. Yes, that's right.
First of all, in order to explain this Between Worlds, it is necessary to know what a world is. Rieme-sama paused after saying that. Birth, where you live, and this underworld are worlds that are confined to a single vessel called space.
Eh?
It's hard to explain, but in the present world where you live, there are stars, galaxies, and the universe.
Is that right? Why, yes.
And the box of space that contains all of this is a world. As I tilted my head, not quite understanding, Rieme-sama looked at me for a moment with a hint of spiritual power in her eyes. Just now, I read Yuya's memories and knowledge. If I were to explain it in a way that comes close to this picture, I would say that the universe you live in is contained in a soap bubble.
Would that work? I see.
The scale is too large for me to fully understand, but I have a vague idea. The world we live in is surrounded by something like a bubble, and the space in which the world exists like a myriad of soap bubbles is the Between Worlds.
I was struck by the sheer magnitude of it all. In other words, could it be that the soap bubbles in our world and the other soap bubbles in another world are parallel worlds? Rieme-sama had an apologetic look on her face as I was confused. I would like to give you a more detailed explanation, but we don't have much time.
Let's just assume that you understand Between Worlds and proceed.
Why, yes.
In Between Worlds, there are those who cannot exist in their respective worlds or who have been rejected by their respective worlds.
Rejected? What do you mean by rejected?
Simply put, the scale of their existence is too great for the world to bear.
Earlier, we compared the world to a soap bubble.
If a person with a large scale of existence enters the bubble will burst, and the world will be destroyed. That is why the world bursts those who are too big in order to defend itself. The destination of the bubbles is Between Worlds, and there are other worlds floating around it. Aren't there? Won't those worlds be attacked? Well, I've never set foot in that Between Worlds, so I don't know the details. Rieme-sama reigns as the lord of this underworld, and I doubt she can afford to go to the Between Worlds.
But the fact that you were attacked indicates that the people in the Between Worlds have the power to interfere with the inside of the world that is floating around in there.
Conversely, if they could easily destroy the world from the outside, they would have done so from the beginning. Maybe they are using this momentary interference to undermine the inner world so that they can interfere from the outside. I see, but if the enemy is in such a place, what should we do? If the enemy is in an incomprehensible place like Between Worlds, there's nothing I can do. Rieme-sama predicted that the enemy could only interfere for a moment, but even with that, they could do a lot of things, which is why the me from the parallel world lost, and that world was taken away from him. But I can't just sit back and wait for them to come back.
Then Rieme-sama opened her mouth with a grin expression on her face.
There's a way to get to the Between Worlds.
Eh?
I was surprised by these unexpected words, and Rieme-sama continued. With my power, I can send you to the Between Worlds.
Well then. But then, I don't know if you'll be able to come back.
Eh? Rieme-sama's words made me hold my breath.
What does that mean?
As I said, I can send you to the Between Worlds, but you will need my power to return from the other side. But as you know, I am the master of the underworld, so I cannot move from this place. Besides, I do not know what kind of place Between Worlds is. I don't know what kind of power those people, whose existence is so great that the whole world has rejected them, could use. There is no way to return home, and their power is unknown. Normally, one would not take on such an opponent recklessly. But in my mind's eye, I saw the image of the other me fading away.
Don't worry, you're stronger than me, so protect everyone. That's what the other me had entrusted to me. That's why.
Rieme-sama, I am asking you, please send me to Between Worlds.
Are you sure? Yes.
I nodded strongly, and suddenly a warm feeling spread over my right hand. I looked at the touch and saw that Mako was holding my hand. I've never heard of parallel worlds or Between Worlds before, but I'm going there with you. But
I was saved by Master.
Besides, now I am one with Master.
Meiko.
I don't want you to forget, but I'm here too, you know?
Then Kuro, who had been quiet lately, unexpectedly called out to me.
Yes, Kuro is with me. I'm not alone, and just knowing that I'm not alone makes my heart lighten. Rieme-sama, who watched our exchange, let out a sigh.
You seem to have made up your mind.
The boundary line between the dimensions that existed in between worlds has probably disappeared this time, but is there anyone who can repair it? While Rieme-sama made a somewhat offensive remark, she clapped her hands vigorously. At that moment, waves of mystical and spiritual power spread out from both of her hands at once.
I'll say it again.
If I send you over there, I don't know if you'll ever be able to return to the present world. Please. I've been saved by many people in my life. Therefore, when the world is in danger, I want to fight to protect everyone. Hearing my words, Rieme-sama nodded and put her hands, which were filled with tremendous power, on the ground.
At that moment, the waves of mystical and spiritual power intertwined and enveloped the bodies of myself and Meiko, and we were sent to the Between Worlds. Thank you for watching Pages in Sidra. I hope you enjoyed this chapter of I Got a Cheat Ability in a Different World, and became extraordinary even in the real world.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more volumes and novels. Let's keep exploring these amazing stories together. See you in the next one.